What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode number 65 today of the My Player Career Mode. Apologies for the delay between the last episode and this one. Yesterday, I actually had an issue with FIFA. Like, basically, guys, if you watched yesterday's, Crew Alexander episode, you'll know I got stuck on the loading screen and it just wouldn't go. So then I decided to force close the game and reopen it. And then after that, it just wouldn't let me start the game. So I spent yesterday trying to solve that, and eventually I got to the bottom of it, and I had to go ahead and uninstall and reinstall the game, and that took a little bit of time as well, because it's quite a big game, it's FIFA. It took me about 3 hours to get it back and all running up and good. So, yeah, apologies for that, but today's episode, I want to talk about the potential live stream. I asked you guys in the last one if you would prefer to see the final few games of the season as a live stream or as a, kind of just a regular episode where I do it as live com. And of course, I'd say that 60% of the people seem to want the live stream, in which case, I'm going to basically run through quickly how it will be done. Don't worry if you can't tune into the live stream, because it will still be going out as a video, as, an after video on the channel anyway, so you won't miss it. It just, of course, means that you won't see it as the live stream, which is, yeah, however you want to look at that. So don't worry if you thought that even if I live stream, you're going to miss the episode, because it will still go out as a normal episode anyway. It's just for the people who can obviously tune in live. Now, to go around the time that I'm looking to do it, of course, I want it to be on a weekend, but as you may or may not know, I do work on the weekends, meaning that I'll have to find a day when I know for sure I'm going to be able to live stream. But I will talk about that a little bit further on in today's episode, because it all depends on how we get on in this episode, of course, because if we end up with certain victories here and there, it's going to mean that we have more games to play, meaning that the live stream won't be this weekend. So, just to let you know on that, guys. But 51 minutes into this first game, it was quite weird. We were playing against Celta Vigo, and we were struggling to create much in the first half, and the second half continued pretty much the same way. Ben really having the only chance the second half there early on, and he ended up wasting it, just firing it straight above the goal there. No chance of that one finding the back of the net. And then 55 minutes in, he sets up Aguero, who's going through with a chance to make it 1-0. However, the Argentinian can only find the post with his effort. And with 30 minutes to go, it's still all square here. And it looks like it may remain that way, as Ben was substituted off for Isco. You can see there was no handshake from Zidane for Ben, though. So again, going back to their relationship, doesn't look too good for the prospects of Ben in the future of staying here at Real Madrid, because there's no handshake between the two guys there on the touchline, Zidane and Ben. And I thought Real Madrid were going to win this one. Davinson Sanchez, with 12 minutes to play, got through from Aubameyang, and you can see he hits the same post that Aguero did in the earlier part of this second half. So that post, it's the kryptonite of Real Madrid at the moment, and it looks like it may send them into a single point for today's game. Sanchez is a man over on the right. If he can find him, he does find him in the form of Gareth Bale. And when it's not the post, it's the goalkeeper stopping Real Madrid from scoring. And it didn't end there, actually. 81 minutes in, Llorente picking up the ball, finding Rashford. Rashford now cutting inside, goes back down onto the left, finds it into Rodriguez. James Rodriguez through to Bale. And once again, the goalkeeper of Celta Vigo is certainly earning his paycheck today, because that is another very, very smart stop from the goalkeeper. And as you can see, even though the second half was very Real Madrid dominant, they couldn't find the breakthrough. They ended up with a 0-0 draw. So, yeah, it's slightly disappointing them, and you can see by those match highlights, as I said, the second half really picked up. The first half was very boring. And overall, Real Madrid, accuracy-wise, weren't fantastic. They needed to do a little bit more in that front, but a 0-0 draw regardless. It is a disappointing way to start the episode off, but the even more disappointing thing is the fact that when Ben was substituted, there was no handshake between his manager or himself. So, yeah, don't read into that too much, of course, but just looking at that, it's a little bit disappointing to see that, because, of course, Zidane was a great player. Ben plays a similar position. I would like to think there's mutual respect there, but with a handshake, I'm not so sure. Now, into the second game, and what is the most important game of today's episode. If you didn't watch the last episode, you won't know what happened. Manchester United took on Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, and they taught them a footballing lesson. United dominated the game in Spain, and they came away with a 1-0 aggregate lead. We go now to Old Trafford, where United look to knock out the current Champions League holders if they can hold their nerve in this game. You can see player to watch is going to be Ben, and he is back in the side here today for what is a very important game in Real Madrid's season. The United team, actually, to be fair, isn't terrible. They've got some decent players, but I would like to say that if Real Madrid can play to their, utmost, they would be able to at least get this back to level terms. We'll see. But that's the side, anyway, that Madrid have gone with. I have to admit, I am very, very nervous when it comes to playing games because this Madrid side now, defensively, are nowhere near as strong as they were last year. Varane's, kind of leaving, hasn't helped them at all, but the two they've got in Sanchez and Bailly just don't seem to know what each other's going to do because they can make so many mistakes when they play with each other that it really is ridiculous. But someone who doesn't make mistakes is this young man. 19 minutes into the game here at Old Trafford, it's that man on your screen pulling it back for Real Madrid with the first chance of the game. Looking at this, though, from this angle, you can see I was slightly disappointed with David De Gea. Admittedly, it does go through, I think it was Rafael Varane's legs there, so that's probably what beats him. However, it's not the greatest display of goalkeeping. And I have actually got it on 65 for the CPU goalkeepers, so might have to bump that up to 70. But even so, I will show you in a moment's time, actually. I do actually have it on 65, so it is not me playing on 50. It's just for some reason, David De Gea doesn't make that save. And as I said, it just had to be Ben, didn't it, who would get them back on level terms. And you can see, about to show you the 65. There it is on the screen. I might bump it up to 70. Let me know what you think down below, guys. Of course, because as it gets further on, Ben's going to get better. We might have to bump up the goalkeeper a little bit more. And anyways, guys, moving on to the next highlight, though. United weren't just going to sit back at Old Trafford. They taught us a lesson last time out. I'm sure they'll create chances in this one. And 40 minutes in, a cross from Martins comes in the middle, and luckily Ben was actually stood there. He read where the cross was going to go. Didn't need him, though, because Rico was the man who ended up making the stop. And as we move into the half-time stage, it is Real Madrid 1, Manchester United 0, meaning if this game stays the way it is, after 90 minutes, we'll be heading for extra time and potentially penalties, which could be a ridiculous way to decide who goes through in this round of the Champions League. Now, with that goal in the 21st minute from Ben, other than that, there was really nothing else to happen in that first half. And as the second half began, the one thing that frustrated me all evening long was the fact that the Romelu Lukaku was getting the better of Eric Bailly and Davinson Sanchez on every single occasion. He wins a free kick there. Paul Pogba stood over this one. It is a phenomenal hit, but it's an even better one-handed stop from Rico to stop United going back in front here. And that was a brilliant save. I put Ben on the line. You can see he's trying to make a block here, but he didn't need it because Rico does the business for Real Madrid. But as I said, defensively, they just feel so much weaker this year than they did last season, Real Madrid. And Lukaku, again, showcasing just that. Don't get me wrong, Lukaku is a world-class forward in terms of what he can do. But I just looked at it and I just thought, you know what? When you've got Bailly and you've got Sanchez, two, I'd say, decent defenders on your field of play. And yet, Manchester United are now creating opportunities in the second half that's led to Paul Pogba and Lukaku being able to dab on me. I can't understand it at all because United now take a lead on aggregate and pull the game back all square on the day. And if you watch it from this replay, it is number 26, which I do believe is Mr. Davinson Sanchez, is the reason as to why it is gone back to 1-1. Paul Pogba was Sanchez's man, and he is the man who scored the goal to get them back. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. Maybe I shouldn't be as harsh as I am on the defenders. But all I know is that Manchester United on the day, they caused so many issues defensively, Lukaku especially, that we just couldn't keep up. And we were lucky to even be still in this game because Rafael Varane gets through and a quite brilliant stop again from Rico stops them going 2-1 up, 3-1 up on aggregate, and we could have been just home and dry then. We could have been out of the competition, but Rico makes a great save. And he kept on doing it. Varane again looking for another opportunity to score against his former club. But again, Rico equal to that one as we move into the last 5 minutes of the game. Cross from Ben. It's deep, but it's not quite finding the man at the back post as David De Gea now launches the ball upfield of play. And you can see it's one in the middle by James Wilson, of all attackers, against Davinson Sanchez. And Varane again has an opportunity, which again is saved by Rico. But that just put the nail on the coffin for me. The fact that James Wilson won that header against Davinson Sanchez just showed that we were not good enough defensively. And I speak about this, and I'll say it again, I'm sure, during the series, but football is about winning your areas. You know, it's like battles. You have battles on the pitch. Your defenders will battle with the strikers, and if they don't win that battle, then at the end of the day, the striker's going to create chances and potentially win the game. And that's exactly what happened there. Our two centre-backs didn't win a challenge against Lukaku all evening long. Every aerial ball, it felt like Lukaku was winning that one. Just in terms of his hold-up play, they couldn't get it off him. And you've got to win battles like that if you want to win games. So even though Ben pulled the game back, Madrid, unfortunately, will not have the chance to defend their trophy in a final of the Champions League because they are out. So, yeah, it's disappointing. And after that, Ben was in no fitness kind of area, so decided that he shouldn't play in that one. And they ended up going on and losing it against Valladolid there. So as it stands, Real Madrid with a draw in the first game, a defeat in that one there. It's not looking good for their league form either. Now, because of the fact we now know that we're out of the Champions League, we don't have to kind of pencil in any other games. We will be doing a live stream, hopefully, this weekend. The way I will do it, guys, I will release a video on the day that I'm going to do the live stream. It will either be Saturday or Sunday. Of course, tomorrow or Sunday. I am working on the Saturday, so it probably will most likely be the Sunday instead. I'll release a video in the morning, basically just saying I'm going to be live streaming at a certain time tonight. Tune in if you can. If not, don't worry. And then we'll do it on that day. And I'm going to leave it with 4 games to go in the league. And, of course, that Copa de España final for the live stream. So we'll have a minimum of 5 games to play within that live stream. So make sure you tune in. I will release the video, as I said, explaining it. And, you know, on the day that we are going to live stream, you'll be able to check it out. And if you miss it, don't worry. As I said, it will go out as a video afterwards anyway. So hopefully you can forward to that as well. I can't wait to end this season off with Ben and hopefully move clubs because, let's just say, I don't think he's enjoying his time here at Real Madrid, especially after that defeat there to Manchester United over the 2 legs. So the final game of today's episode comes at you up against Atalanta here. And Ben sets up Llorente for the first chance. But that's the reason why he's more considered as a holding midfielder and not necessarily an attacking one, because his strike is less than brilliant, to be fair, and he ends up hitting it over the top of the crossbar, and what could have been Real Madrid going 1-0 up is still remaining 0-0. So, yeah, disappointing finish from Llorente. 27 minutes in, though, Ben looking to kind of create a chance, and you can see eventually he gets a little bit of space here, just opens up nicely for him, and he tries to find the top corner with that curling effort, and very much like Llorente, he hits it over the top of the crossbar. So maybe Ben should switch back to being a centre defensive midfielder rather than being in a cam, because he can't finish that one off either. It is close, but it's still not good enough. He's got to find at least a target there and make the goalkeeper have to earn his paycheck, but he doesn't do that. 30 minutes in. Again, it's Real Madrid pretty much controlling the play here, trying to find this opening goal. Rashford, the latest of the chances. He cuts back, finds its way to Casemiro. Casemiro to Aubameyang, and that's why he is the striker in the side, because where his midfielders have failed twice with 2 efforts going over the top of the crossbar, he gets his first shot of the game, and he finds a top corner with his effort. So that's why he's paid the big bucks to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what he's just done there. So 35 minutes in, Madrid onto the lead here, and they need to kind of pick up 3 points from this one, you know. Before they moved into this game, I showed you the league table right at the start, and Atletico Madrid have come out of nowhere to be kind of nearby. And as it stands, if they don't win this game here and they end up drawing, or losing for that matter, Madrid could be within a point of Atletico Madrid could be within a point of Real Madrid. So, yeah, as I said, you know, this is important that they get the 3 points here. Otherwise, they could be looking at a very nervy ending in that live stream, and we'll see if that's going to happen. But as it stands, 1-0 up. It's going pretty well at the moment. I said Atlanta. I got it wrong. It's Alavés. I don't know why I called it Atlanta earlier on. It's just a brain fart from myself. But 38 minutes in, and yeah, the less said about that, the better. Because once again, defensively, we're made to look silly. Like 3 passes, and it's back at 1-1. I have to give major credit where it's due. That is a fantastic finish from the Alavés forward. And I can't complain at that because he's done the defender exceptionally well. Watch the replay here. I've got to admit, again, maybe I'm being too harsh on the defenders. But I just feel like last year we were so good defensively, Varane, Ramos. And this year with Bailly and Sanchez at the back, it just feels like we're nowhere near as good as we were. Like, yeah, I mean, that is a great finish. But again, Sanchez gets turned and his man is the one that scores it. So I could be kind of being harsh here, but at the same time, you can't really lose a player of Varane's quality and then expect to be as good defensively. Because let's face it, he is more or less one of the best defenders, if not the best defender in world football in this current series at the moment. So you can't really lose a player of that caliber and expect to still be as good as you were last year. So that is the case. But 52 minutes into the second half now, as it's back at 1-1. Real Madrid with work to do to try and find the lead in this one. Ben finding Rashford back to Ben. Ben to Llorente again. And once again, the midfielder ends up skying his effort. I just can't even comprehend. What is he doing there in the first place? And luckily for us at that stage, I thought, you know, he was going to be substituted off, and he ended up getting substituted off. And we end up winning a free kick here. You know my personal hate is right now that Ben hasn't been able to take free kicks. And once again, he's not given the one that he wins. Rashford skies it. Like, is he ever going to get the opportunity from Zidane to take a free kick here at Real Madrid? It's frustrating me. I'm sure it's frustrating you guys as well, watching all these free kicks go to waste and not even give Ben an opportunity to even take one. So as it stood, they picked up a point, Real Madrid, from the game, and that meant that as we move into the final 4 games of the season, guys, which I will be playing in the live stream, Real Madrid are 1 point ahead of Atletico Madrid. 1 point. The same games played, and it's a single point separating them. So this is going to be a very nervy ending to what has been, I would have said, a really good season for Madrid if you'd have asked me before today's episode. Now, they potentially could have been out of the Champions League and have lost the league within the space of 2 episodes. I'm not sure how it's going to go. Hopefully, they'll be able to hold their nerve for Ben as well, because we obviously want to see him win as many trophies as we can. But, I mean, yeah, it's going to be close. We'll see how it plays out. We've still got to play at least one El Clasico as well, so that's going to be a tough game. I really am looking forward to that live stream. Hopefully you guys are as well. I'll see you all for it, hopefully this weekend at some stage, tomorrow or Sunday. Make sure you tune in. As I said, I will release a video the morning that I am going to be doing the live stream for you all. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, a like would be greatly appreciated. As always, thank you for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. I will see you all again at 4 p.m. tomorrow for yet another video. And then, of course, for a live stream, I'll see you all again for this series during that live stream. Catch you all then, guys. Adios!